Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. As someone who grew up in a developed country, the concept of working until you retire has been deeply ingrained into our culture and consciousness. The main pillar of this concept is Social Security, or sometimes also called old age insurance. But that pillar is built on increasingly shaking foundations. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike and I'm pursuing FI. After traveling around in Asia in 2022, I'm exploring how to live a financially independent life without actually being financially independent yet. In this video, we will explore whether or not Social Security might implode just like your run-of-the-mill Ponzi scheme. How does a Ponzi scheme work? Let's suppose M plans a Ponzi scheme and pitches a lucrative investment opportunity to A. The investment promises a 10% return in 1 month. A is intrigued and invests $100. In 1 month, he expects to receive $110. M now has $100. 1 week later, A tells B about the great investment opportunities and B decides to invest as well. B invests also $100. M now has $200. 1 month passes and A takes out his $110. Now M has only $90 and he would be unable to pay B the promised $110. M needs to find someone else to join the scheme, meet C. M now has $190 and can pay B $110. The game continues as long as people are adding money into the Ponzi scheme faster than it's being taken out. It stops when there's no more money left or when the authorities realize it's a scam. Someone will eventually lose money. Usually, the initiator of the Ponzi schemes will enrich themselves by siphoning off money, resulting in even faster depletion of the funds. In what way is Social Security like a Ponzi scheme? If you live in a country with Social Security and you are currently working, a portion of your salary is mandatorily deducted and goes towards Social Security. In return, you get an IOU to be redeemed when you retire. You will then be entitled to your pension as a payout from Social Security. Your Social Security contributions, however, are not kept in an account waiting for you to retire. Instead, in most countries, the contributions are used to pay the pensions of the currently retired population. Just like in a Ponzi scheme, where newer investors fund the payout for earlier investors. In Social Security, the current working population pays for the non-working retired population. What's the difference though? Let's turn to the dictionary definition of Ponzi scheme. A form of fraud in which belief in the success of a non-existent enterprise is fostered by the payment of quick returns to the first investors from money invested by later investors. Note the two key elements of the definition: a form of fraud and non-existent enterprise. Social Security is obviously not a fraud. The way Social Security works, the way the money is used, and the way the various participants get the money is fully and honestly explained. The similarity between Ponzi schemes and Social Security lies in the way they transfer money from the young to the old. But this is not unique to Ponzi schemes or Social Security. Many forms of insurances, annuities, and other legitimate investments do the same. You could even consider, back in the early days, having many children who count as such a system. So, Social Security is not a fraud. All is well. Not quite. Ponzi schemes will collapse when there's not enough money to pay. But many Social Securities around the world are facing these exact issues. What's the problem then? Social Security systems in many countries are experiencing problems due to an imbalance of contributions to payouts, which leads to their funds being depleted faster than they can be replenished. The reason in most countries is the change in the shape of the population pyramid. A Social Security system works best with a growing population, meaning there's a continuous source of more and more young generations funding a smaller older generation. This results in the pyramid shape. This is the case in countries like Nigeria, Haiti, or Angola. Most countries will eventually transition to a shape that looks more like Mexico, India, or Indonesia before reaching something like the US, Switzerland, Australia, or New Zealand, or even more extreme, Italy, Japan, or Portugal. This happens as countries start to develop. their population distribution changes, going from a pyramid to something like a candle flame, and for now ending in what looks to me like an asparagus tip. The reason behind this shape change is lower birth rates as countries develop and educational level rises, especially the ones for women. This results in the base getting narrow. Increase in lifespan leading to a non-tapered, more bulbous top. The combination of both leads to a rapidly aging population as seen as Italy, Japan or Portugal. And to add salt to the wound, there is something that exacerbates the imbalance between the working and non-working population. That anomaly is called the baby boomer generation. That is the bump you see in many developed countries, which are usually just called mom and dad. As the system is right now, all of this will result or already has resulted in fewer people funding the pension of even more retirees, causing the social security to be underfunded. Does it mean my pension will not be guaranteed? Possibly. Governments all around the world are working on finding solutions, and they have different levers they can pull. Increase contributions to social security in one shape or another. Raise retirement age. Cut pensions, a highly unpopular and rarely implemented measure. I assume it's because it usually affects the most active voters in the population. Encourage immigration to shift the population pyramid. This is the reason why traditional immigration countries like the US, Australia, New Zealand don't have such an extreme tapering of the young population. Either way, the current payout to contribution ratio is no longer sustainable, and no matter which lever governments try to pull, there will always be some part of the population that will get the short end of the stick. And this has the potential to spark civil unrest, like recently seen in France. This is likely the reason why governments tend to be very careful when introducing new policies. And often, unfortunately, they also just remain idle and just fund the pensions with more debt. All doom and gloom being said, I personally don't think the governments around the world will allow the social security systems to collapse, because it is so ingrained as a major milestone in life for most societies. The governments will try to keep it functioning, or if I may use a slightly morbid analogy, keep it on life support. I don't know about you, but the state of the social security system makes me feel uneasy. I don't want to worry about money when I'm old and no longer able to work. So what can I as an individual do other than hoping for some capable politicians to be elected and to fix it? This is where, you might have guessed it, financial independence comes in. I want to build my own nest egg that will allow me to retire without relying on social security. If social security is still around when I retire, awesome! More resilience for my nest egg or bonus spending money. If social security is no longer around or the pensions are lower than expected, no worries either. I can rely on my own nest egg to finance my life. Whether you want to retire early when you reach FI is up to you, but I am sure most people want to retire at some point. Therefore, start taking your first actions towards FI now. Here are 3 suggestions for you to start. Listen to the ChooseFI podcast, episode 100. This is the go-to resource to start on your FI journey. Read Simple Path to Wealth, a simple and straightforward guide to getting wealthy, explained for people who are not interested in investing or finance. Watch my video about 3 very basic but absolutely essential skills for FI. Thank you for watching and see you next time.